the crazy cat lady. That's how you end up. And this ain't something I'm pulling out my ass. This has happened. You can meet ladies who are like this. 100%. You can meet these ladies who thought, I got a good college degree. I got a job that I'm being progressive. Who needs a family? Who needs anything like that? We are getting ladies like this, and I'm sure you guys have seen these people. They always end up being the wine aunt or just some cougar. Because once you hit your late 40s and 50s, you can't have kids anymore. You're pretty much screwed. While guys can just pump it fast. They don't have to, of course, probably one pump chumps when you get older, but guys, their sperm never ages. They can do it when they're in their 90s, for God's sakes. They can have kids in their 90s, or at least it won't be as good as when you're younger, but sperm pretty much lasts forever. Ovaries don't. So that's the sad reality of why not? And the same things can happen to guys, dumb young guys who spend their parents' money on fucking booze and hookers. Having a good life, and not focusing on their actual careers. Sorry, I'm pulling up some tags I brought a beanbag I'm putting my feet on. So, your life is not as good as before. Well, because guys can have the same thing. Like I said, just end up boozing and whoring around, And I do feel like it's worse for women since, like I said, the whole sperm thing, but it's worse for women because you're just being used, girls. You're being used by just horrible men, You're wasting your youth just whoring yourself and boozing till your fucking livers fail. And guys do the same thing. Both guys and girls get fucking STDs all the time just from fucking some dude in an old stall in some raunchy nightclub in New York. I'm Oswald Mosley II, as you can tell from the way I'm talking. I'm not the best person at talking. I can refine the way I talk, but I do feel like you're getting the point. What I'm saying is individualism always leads to someone getting fucked. For example, the trans people, transgenders, what the fuck are they gonna do when they become 40? It's fun when you're in your late teens and when you're 20 and even in 30, but when you hit 40, I've seen a meme of this. I've seen 40, once you hit 40 as a trans person, you might as well just kill yourself. You just wasted your whole fucking youth having surgery, ripping off pieces of your flesh just to become another gender. That's the thing about individualism. No one thinks about their future. The wino, she only cares about screwing and drinking. The young dude, he only cares about doing drugs and the next hole he puts his dick in. And doesn't really care about if he's doing the right career or not, or if he's having an actual family. And transgender people fuck up all the time. All those drag queens and those women who become men and men who become women. They're fucking themselves, honestly. They really are. You guys remember Desmond is Amazing, that kid with a lot of controversy? What the fuck is he gonna do when he's in his 20s? What the fuck is gonna happen to him? I like to see. He's like 10 right now, or some shit like that. What the fuck will he do when he's 16 or 18? His mind's gonna be so confused because his mind. Young people, their minds still process and develop until they're 22, somewhere around there in their 20s, early 20s. And his mind's gonna be all fucked because he's being exposed to all these different people and all these different things. He's gonna be all fucked up. And it's insane. Like, like I'm trying to imagine what would happen to your average drag queen. Are they still gonna do it? Are they still gonna dress up like women and walk around the street when they're like fucking 85? I don't know. And a lot of these people who do these operations and shit like that, like the guys who have breast implants, what the fuck is that shit gonna look like when they're older? Seriously. Their skin, that's pretty much fake skin they're putting on themselves. That shit's gonna fall off. Let's be honest. Or these guys who have their crotches fucked with so they can have like a inside out vagina or some shit like that. What the fuck are gonna happen to them? They're gonna have a miserable adulthood once they hit their like late 30s or early 40s. They're gonna be so fucking confused because their bodies are gonna start to pretty much change, become older, become old people. Their bodies are gonna be all fucking confused on how things are, especially the men who become women. As you know, the women who become men, those fuckers are gonna be so. God, what the fuck will they look like when they're old men? Like when they're old, they're not gonna look like old men. I can promise you that. They're going to look like just. They're gonna look like some fucking abomination. They're gonna look like old ladies who are just. I don't know. And drag queens. Drag queens. I can imagine drag queens will have a better lot in life. Because I've seen old bastards walking around in drag. But it's gonna be disgusting, man. It's gonna be a mess. Especially for the trans people. Another case of individualism, like back to the subject, I'm sorry. Like no one thinks ahead. No one thinks about what their future holds. It's only the now. They only think about the now. Like, you know, that's individualism. That's the advertisement for individualism. Like, no one thinks about the now. They always think about, hey, live in the moment. And we've seen this in movies and shit. We've seen how movies portray, like, hey, live life. Like, tell me the last movie in 2010s that didn't have like a wine aunt in it. Tell me, because I've seen so many in the past 2 years, maybe more, of just the wine aunt. There's always a fucking wine aunt or some independent woman who fucks all types of men and drinks wine and gets drunk and shit. And fucking, I've seen this in so many movies, and people say, "Oh, no one believes this type of shit. No one believes that." No one wants to become these type of things. No, people do. We got the children of baby boomers who pretty much allow them to do whatever they want. That's why we got millennials right now who are going to bars and shit like that, getting drunk and fucked up. That's the only happiness they get, either doing drugs or getting drunk or fucking. That's the only happiness they're receiving. It's insane. And individualism is very connected to communism because we're seeing it right now in Antifa and what they support, and seeing it in our colleges and universities with all the different crazy ass shit they're putting in there, like genderless stalls or shit like that. And of course, there are those who abuse this system. They see like, yep, these dumb motherfuckers, like some perverted motherfucker puts on a dress and says, "Hey, I'm a woman." He's allowed in the female stalls where your fucking daughters are, where your wives are, where your sisters are, and he's allowed to be some pervert jerking it off. That is what we're dealing with nowadays. And I may be over exaggerating, but there, you can see so many times that this has happened. So many times, and I can see how the system will be abused. It's insane. And I do believe that unless we stop it, it'll just be a very, very fucking great future. And individualism expands to immigration as well. Because we're seeing what's going on in California, like with them saying, "Oh, every human being has the right to do this, this, and that." So they're bringing in all these Mexicans, all these migrants who are coming into California and not doing anything. They're not doing anything at all. They're cheap labor. They're cheap labor that is coming in, taking jobs, and not doing anything, not helping their own community, not helping anything. Remember the 50s? Back then, you could unlock your fucking door and not have to worry that some bastard will come in and fuck with you. You knew your next door neighbor. You knew him. You would go over and help him out. That was what life was long ago. You help each other out. These Mexicans who come in, they don't help their community. They don't help their fellow Mexicans. They don't help the whites. They don't help anyone. It's individualism to its finest. And sorry, I had a bit of skin on my lip. I'm just joking among myself, just thinking I'm like fucking Alex Jones right here, yelling and screaming. But yeah, like they don't care about that. They care about the money that's coming from the dumbass Silicon Valley leftists who don't care about the average white man that's fucking mowing their lawn. They don't care about anyone. That's why they bring in all these migrants and promoting individualism. Silicon Valley doesn't give a shit. As long as they profit from it, they don't care. As long as they have slave labor and that they're able to fucking have their own trains run on time, they're good. Hell, you remember the fucking individuals from the 70s and 80s? They're fucking homeless now in the streets of California. And with some of the millennials and some of the guys from the 90s who support individualism, look at where they are now in California. On the streets of Los Angeles, homeless. Fucking rats are all over the place in California. I have gone to California. I've seen it firsthand. That shit is disgusting. That is what happens with individualism. Everyone for themselves. It's a giant rat race. And that's what's going on in California. Everyone's for themselves. Everyone wants to have marijuana legalized. Boom. Everyone wants to fucking go work at this time. Everyone wants to do this, this, and that. Everyone's doing their own things. They don't care about going like, what's the most more reasonable thing we can do to help the actual community? Maybe getting rid of the fucking rats. Like everyone's caring about themselves, that they're not focusing on what's more important. Should we fucking get rid of all the trash that's on the streets and maybe actually give homes to the homeless? No! Let's have more fucking gay rights and trans rights and fucking migrant rights. Let's not care about the current situation in our home state. That's why I fucking support the inland Californians. Those who actually work hard, who actually care about their fucking state, and not those in Silicon Valley or Los Angeles or San Francisco. It's a fucking mess. And well, individualism leads to chaos. Not like full on anarchy, but we're seeing it. We're seeing it happen. Good case of individualism is we all seen this one guy. We all seen this one bastard. He's on Twitter all the fucking time. We've all seen the one guy who is calling for race equality. He is one of the fucking loudest mouthpieces for individualism, right next to all the like LGBT Q, X, Y, and Z supporters, and the all those fucking black rights people and shit like that. They're a giant ass mouthpiece. But this guy, this motherfucker, he is everywhere. He's everywhere but nowhere. And I'm not saying it like, oh, he sees everything, but you don't see him. No, I'm saying it like he sees everything he wants to see, but he doesn't see everything that he dislikes. Get what I mean? Recently, we all know this fucker. He will say, "Oh, whites are so racist and white privilege and shit like that," and believes that whites are ruining the world and should be brought down a level. And he'll support like migrant rights, and he's pretty much an individual who wants to give individualism to others. You know, you can say he's pretty caring for others, but in all honesty, he's just making the problems worse. And I met these guys more than once. Uh, you can say anything to fuck with his argument. You can fucking talk about Martians on the fucking moon, and he'll come in and go like, you know, that may be happening, but we still have racists here. Motherfucker. And recently, I met one of these guys, and it was about a article made about recent grooming things that's been going on in England, which is honestly a real shame, especially with my roots with England and just seeing how my ancestors' homeland has gone so far downhill. And it talked about how last year, I believe, or something along those lines, 19,000 young girls were raped, groomed, and imprisoned by migrant men. And many of us do. It's clear to see. You have to be the most blindest bastard to not see that it's the migrants who are doing this. 19,000 girls gone. Just raped. Some murdered. Raped and their lives ruined. And we're talking about girls who are like under the age of consent, you know, in their under 10 years old and a little bit above it, you know, young girls, you know, who were snatched up by migrant men and taken away from their homes and raped in gangbangs. And we can all agree that it is the migrants. It is these Arabs, and I don't hate the Arabs. I don't hate the fucking blacks. I respect them. I wish them the best in their own homelands. But when they send the scum of their race to us, this is fucking madness. I believe in what Oswald Mosley believed in. I believed in helping our fellow human, you know, for the betterment of humanity, you know, help the blacks. We want to help them and stop starvation. Let's get on with it. Let's not waste any time. If we could, we would. But they're giving us fucking thousands, millions of them. They're putting it all into Europe, into England, into America, and now into Australia. They're giving us all their fucking migrants, and not just migrants, but the scum of their race, the rapists, the ex-Taliban members, the ex-ISIS members. They're giving us all the scum, the radical Islamics who wish nothing more than to see our women just like theirs. It's insane. And we can all see it is the migrants who are raping these young girls in England and in Germany and in France and in Sweden. All across Europe, the only safe areas are in Eastern Europe, in Poland and Hungary. And we're starting to see it in Italy. Italy's starting to fight back as well. The Australians as well, especially with how the bushfires lately have been going. And this motherfucker, the guy who wants individualism for everyone else, this guy who says whites are all the racist ones, he'll come in and say, oh, well, that's a shame, but whites are still racist. Motherfucker! Even I'm getting fucking pissed off just talking about him. This bastard, this guy will come in. He will come in to, no matter what it is. He went into this discussion about the girls who were raped and said, oh, well, whites are racist. And you saying that it's all the migrants? It is racist too. It is all the fucking migrants. Look at how many rapes there were in Europe and England long, long ago, way before before any type of migrant went into those nations. Maybe migrants from the Commonwealth or from African holdings, sure. The rates were still really fucking low. Nowadays, it's skyrocketing. It's in the thousands, for God's sakes. And it's all pointing to the one fucking thing that has recently come to England. And that is the fucking migrants. And you would tell this guy, and the main reason we all fucking hate this guy is because he always has to make it about whites being racist, while his own race is being slowly murdered. And we tell him, hey, fucking 19,000 girls were just raped and their lives ruined. Some fucking murdered. And you're here saying, oh, but whites are still really racist. Motherfucker, your own race is under attack. You're a bloody drone. You're a mouthpiece to the fucking migrants the migrants think you're a fucking fool. You're defending their actions. You're defending what they're doing. Young girls are being raped, and you have to be the blindest bastard or the most zealous cocksucker to think that nothing's happening. You're in a burning house, and you're saying, "Oh, this is fine. This is fine. Whites are racist. This is fine." Like, how are these type of guys so blind? Like I said before, look at England, look at Germany, look at France, look at Sweden. Sweden's the worst of them all. The rapes in Sweden have been in the millions, I believe, in the last year. And even before that, it's large. I saw this chart of rapes in Europe, and they were scaled by years and such, and all the other European nations were not even an inch in length. Well, it was it was kind of like a poll, how polls like, oh, one's longer than the other, those type of things. All of the other nations were not even a fucking inch long. Well, Sweden was a fucking foot long. And you can back up this information. You can look and see the rape it has skyrocketed in Sweden. Sweden was once a fucking proud nation. I have roots to Sweden. My Norse ancestors came from there. I have deep roots with the Germans and the Nordic folk, and just seeing how their nations are becoming, it's madness. And this motherfucker still defends that. Oh, well, at least we're still going against whites being racist. I just can't believe how blind they are. They don't care about the girls that were raped. They don't care at all. They only care about their ideals. That is individualism at its finest. They only care about themselves and those who continue to ruin our nations. They don't care about the collective. That's why I support fascism and nationalism. because it cares about everyone. It cares about the nation. It cares about the environment. It cares about the people and our children and our families. That's why I'm a believer in Mosley. Mosley has predicted all this shit. He was around when this stuff started. He predicted the cheap slave labor that would be in Asia, in India, in China, in Japan. Predicted how these poor devils would be working in those factories making us cheap products in these sweatshops and then send it over and go like, our own population is growing, so we need more of this shit. Bring in these fuckers. We need to fuel the industry war machine. Bring these fuckers in, throw them in the factories just to make the fat cats happy. And Mosley, some people will hate this, but I don't consider his beliefs fascist. Like compared to like Mussolini or any other fascist leader. No, I consider his a reactionary, honestly. He was around during a time that was complex. We were dealing with communism. We were dealing with all types of things. We were dealing with how Africa was slowly falling apart. He was around back then, and he went against corruption and against poverty and against abuse of the actual worker and the Englishman. And his black shirts and himself were very reactionary. They went again. They formed up just to go against this corruption. They wanted to not tear down the like the parliament or things like that, but to create, like he said, a new machine, a new version of the original system. Fine tune it. Fix it so it actually probably cares about the civilian, about the country. And like I said, that's why I support fascism and nationalism. I believe the Arabs and the Chinese, I believe the Asians and the Africans and the people in the Middle East and even the people in South America, they all deserve their own nations. They all deserve their own homelands. But when you come to our nations, like if a white man went to Saudi Arabia and disobeyed the laws, broke them and things like that, would he be arrested? Of fucking course. But if like an African man came to say England and he broke the laws, why does he get a free pass? Oh, because he's suppressed. He's just an African man he's a future doctor. Bullshit. You either obey the law of the land or you get out. We don't want you here. We never wanted you here. We never asked. This is our homeland. We're willing to help all the fucking world if we have to. Because whites have gotten a bad rep. Because of all like slavery and shit like that and colonization. Look at Rhodesia. Look at what we did there. That is colonization at its finest. Us actually helping the population advance, actually become better, and we did that in India for a time. India went through poverty many, many fucking times. And I do blame how the British government dealt with that, but I do believe that we advanced India. We made it united in a way, with both Islamic and Hindu members. Once we fucking left India, all that went down. And the same in Rhodesia and all the African colonies. We had advanced them and give them all types of things and actually made them better. But during the Cold War, with socialism and communism rising, we either were going to deal with a full-on war in these places or let them go. And when we did have a full-on war with these places, either failed or people like leftists back in the homeland told us, hey, get out of there, we're protesting, we don't want you there. So we got out. Rhodesia's a sad example because we had advanced them so much. Blacks and whites were able to work together in that nation. They were able to work together. Grocery stores were filled to the brim with food. Everyone looked clean. Everyone was able to afford a proper living. Now look at it now. Look at it now. It's a damn shame. And if we could, all the European nations united and being able to support a good, healthy agricultural community within our own nations, we could be able to make enough food and solve hunger one continent at a time and actually teach these nations how to properly care for themselves and how to choose proper leaders and have a proper republic. And we do a lot. And sadly, like I said, whites have gotten a bad rep. We're always called the enemy of the world. Tell me, who exactly did the fucking slave trade? You're always saying, oh, the English, the Spanish, oh, the French, the Jews. That's right. I don't hate the Jews. I respect the common Jew, the one who's trying to raise his family and do his own thing. I hate the fucking Jews, though, that profit from everything. Or always finding the proper way to profit or put themselves on top. I hate those type of Jews. They're the worst type of human being. Self-centered. And those type of Jews, they were the ones doing the slave trade. They may have came from Britain, but they weren't British. They may have came from France or fucking Spain, but they were not Spanish or French. They were Jews. I hate saying bad things about the Jews because I can say I'm a fucking proud fascist and shit like that. But talking bad about the Jews is still a taboo new to me. And I'm not sure what to do with it. But I do see that I'm starting to see the connections. We got Jews in the porn industry. We had Jews running the slave trade. We had Jews running Zionism. And fucking whispering in the ears of our government and constantly profiting from a war that ended over fucking 80 years ago. They're still profiting. When will it fucking end? And they're constantly demanding more and more from us. And they're constantly demanding, hey, put more migrants in your nation. Huh? No wonder the fucking Jews are hated. No fucking wonder. Because you keep commanding us to do these things we don't want to do. You have no right. You're just a small little nation. You don't call the shots. The people of these nations, the people of these European nations, are the ones who should call the shots. It's their homeland, not yours. The Jews can have fucking Israel for all I care. They can have Palestine and control that whole territory for all I care. But once they start fucking with Europe and America, then the line must be drawn. The same goes for migration. I respect my darker skinned kid. I would do anything for him. But when they come to our lands and start breaking our rules, murdering and raping, then the line must be drawn. Something's gotta give. Whites gotta stand up for their nation. They gotta stand for what they believe in. We don't have to hate other races. But once they start coming to our homeland and being racist towards us, then we gotta stand up. We're willing to accept the past. We're willing to accept that we did bad. But we are not gonna have this hang over our head for several more generations. We are sick and tired of this shit. Our patience is wearing fucking thin. We are not gonna deal with this shit anymore. Anyways, I respect all European nations, man. I respect the Germans, I respect the French, and I respect the Nordic nations and the Slavs and the Polish and Spaniards, and of course the British and their the 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 Wales and the Scottish and the Irish. I respect them all. They're my European kin. I may be an American, but it's that white unity, you know? People say whites are always going against each other. Well, nowadays they are, but long ago, there was unity in a way. We did go to war against each other, but there was at least unity in some way. We did know that, hey, this is a fellow European. I'd rather take him than some guy from the Middle East who hates me. And there's a revival of that. Europeans of all types are starting to unite under with each other. Like, remember the No More Brother Wars? That was originally just some little thing about World War One long ago. But now it's molded to be more than that. It's molded to be a symbol of European unity. How Europeans should unite. We're powerful together. With the strength of the Germans, with the intellect of the British, with the culture of the French, and everyone else, we can achieve greatness. We can do what our ancestors did. We can bring back a golden age. We can bring back a second renaissance for all of Europe, for all of America, for all of the European descendants in Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. We could bring upon an age of greatness. We can still respect our kin in Africa and such. We can still respect other races. But we deserve the right to care about our own people, to care about their well being and future first. That is what I believe in. And there's only one race that is equal to us Europeans, and that's the Japanese. I will always respect the Japanese. They are people that stand by their culture, that stand by their history, who are not ashamed of it. They stand by it and are willing to hold on to their culture, their religion, and not fall to socialism or communism, Zionism, and fucking migrants and shit like that. They hold on to their belief. They don't fuck around. We need that same attitude as them. We need to do the same. What they are doing is a perfect example, and they will always be a well respected ally to us Europeans. God bless the Japanese. Uh, and for us Europeans, we need to find ourselves. We need to unite as one. Forget the old wars. Forget World War One and World War Two and the wars that came before those. We need to forget them. All of us, British, French, Germans, Spanish, Italians, Polish, all the Slavic nations, the Nordic nations, even Russia, and even the Greeks and all of them. Every single European and American and European descendant. We got to work together. No one else will support us. The only people I can think of are, like I said, the Japanese, but other than them, no one else will help us. We're on our own. We gotta watch each other's backs. We gotta support each other. We gotta go against the degenerates of our race. Those who want to abuse us, that want to ruin everything we have fought for, everything we have died for. My father went to the Middle East to fight for his nation. He did what every man should do. He sacrificed life, limb, and youth for his country. And he is mocked by the youth of nowadays, the millennials, for going there. Even he's not a person that was happy to go there. Even he's saying today that we need to get the fuck out of there. We need to stop going in there because the only people that are profiting are Israel and the fat cats and the war dogs are putting money into this and fighting for both sides. You know, we need to get out of there. We need to end that. We need to leave all these other nations and just focus inward. Focus on ourselves. America is the worst example of not caring for ourselves. We have a homeless crisis. So many veterans that serve their nation are homeless. We're divided. We have no real leader. People who have said good things about Trump, and I do admit he did some good, but I just feel like he keeps going back and forth on like, oh yeah, I'm with you guys, or Israel first, shit like that. He hasn't done anything in the last 4 years. I do like that he has opened up negotiations with North Korea. Other than that, nothing. Nothing at all he has done to actually improve things. Oh, but unemployment is at an all-time low. Yeah, unemployment for Latinos and blacks. What about the rest of us? Right now, there's a bill happening that is saying, like, a bill made by Trump was just canceled out, saying, oh, states don't have the right to keep their people fully white. No, we're going to bring in cheap labor from Africa, from Somalia, bring them in to work. That's what's happening in Maine right now. I went to visit family, a woman that raised me like her own children, and a man who I consider a brother. I went to see them, and all I saw was Somalians. All in this New England, Maine town. Just Somalians everywhere. Full on Somalians wearing hijabs. They were everywhere. And while I was there, several crimes happened not far from us. Whites need to find their place in the world. We need to fix ourselves. We need to fix and get rid of the scum of our race that are pulling us down and ruining us more. And we need to put our foot down and draw the line when it comes to other races and how we are being treated. I don't hate other races, but I want to make sure that my own has its place in this world and is able to be supported and able to care for itself. I wish other races the best, but when you get what I mean. I hope you enjoy this audio log. How long has it been going for? It's been going for 1 hour and 21 minutes and counting. We ranted about individualism and we ranted about the current problems in the West. I want to do more audio logs like this. I'm using these as like kind of a therapeutic type of thing, you know? It's kind of helped me out. Anyways, I wish you guys a good day and thank you for watching, honestly. I'm gonna be talking about some more stuff next one since there's a lot of things I want to talk about. Actually, I got one more thing I want to talk about. Hold on, give me a second. I need to look for something. Here it is. There's one more thing I want to talk about, and that is what's the future of Western civilization, or specifically America. America doesn't have a good future. We were once a nation of Europeans, just European migrants of all types. We had some that are kind of European, but kind of Middle Eastern, like the Armenians. We had a ton of Armenians. We had Polish. We had Germans. We had French. All these different types of Europeans coming over, making their mark. We were a European nation, and just the way things have gone downhill with other races, like sure, Germans and French don't get along well, but in America, we were able to work together for a collective. We were able to work together because we're Europeans. We're all the same blood in the grand scheme of things. And Sorry, I kind of dozed off for a second, but you're all the same blood. So when we bring in other races who have different beliefs than us and who don't assimilate, like the only race that I can think of that assimilated once but has kind of fallen out is, well, there's two technically. Uh, One is the Mexicans because they still had roots with Europe. They still had roots with the Spaniards, and they're technically European descendants, though that's kind of gone downhill nowadays. They're not really much European anymore. They're kind of their own thing. And the other is the blacks. Blacks assimilated quite well, honestly. Sure, they had their own culture, but it was at least a culture that was enjoyable, you know? It was a culture that worked well with the European style of America, you know? America had its own style, of course, but it still had roots with Europe. And the blacks long ago had a good identity. But after the black rights movement, they kind of formed a different one, you know? A different identity that kind of has hindered them, you know? It has led to the parasites of their race becoming more widespread, you know? The same parasites who are currently requesting for payment for slavery and shit like that. Those parasites who have never worked a day in their life and who are requesting payment for something that happened so fucking long ago. I respect the black that works hard. I respect black that actually goes and works hard. The African American that actually wants to make something of himself, who actually wants to rise up above the parasites of his race and actually become something, actually make a proper business, actually raise a proper family, actually do something, actually make a name of himself. But eh, we don't have that many blacks anymore. They're either Zionists or they're just parasites. Now, I talked with this one guy. I've had a couple interesting conversations with him. His name is Kaspar Zinski, or at Kaspar Zinski. He's this interesting fellow I've been talking to. He believes that America will collapse first before any European nation. Currently, it'll collapse first, and when it does, it'll be kind of a wasteland. Places like Cascadia will be no-go zones, but for whites will pretty much hold out to places like Cascadia or New England and pretty much secure them and make sure no other race goes in there. And pretty much law enforcement will not even bother to go over there, in there. It'll be like blue communities of whites in those states, all united and like kind of a tribalistic nationalism. And pretty much just holding on to their own and pretty much their race being on like their race coming first, you know. And places like California will just be, or at least cities in California will just be mass like urban cesspools, you know. Pretty much just being full on controlled by migrants and like immigrants and such. Places like the Midwest will be isolated. They'll probably survive more. Places like Texas will definitely succeed from the Union. That's definitely a fact. The South will probably oh, the South will probably fall first out of anything, and places like East Coast will still be under government control, and the government will still have control of America. It's just they're not gonna fucking bother with some areas. You know, cities will just be fucking wastelands. They're just not gonna bother with the white no-go zones or the migrant fucking cesspools in the cities. They're not gonna bother. They'll just stick to their own areas and hold on to what they got. They'll still have claim over the United States, but and still technically own it. But honestly, it's just they might as well consider not having it. I talked with Casper about it, and he's explained his beliefs and such. And he's obviously a white nationalist fascist, and he's an interesting fellow. I recommend following him. He's had some interesting things to say. I'll repeat his name: Kaspar Zinski, at Kaspar Zinski. I'll probably and here I'll spell it for you: KASPARZINSKI. Kaspar Zinski. Remember the at? He's a good fellow. I chat with him. I chat with a lot of good fellows. And I just want to quickly say that. I do feel like America will fall first because of how so many fucking races are within the United States and how reliant we are on technology. That's the main thing we talked about, how reliant we are. Like, once we are out of once technology's gone, it'll be survival of the fittest. Those who have actually prepared for such a thing will be on top. They'll be the next generation. While tech savvy fucking urban kids in California will go into universities for like fucking race degrees and worthless shit like that, they will not survive. You know, all the soy boys and girls who fucking don't know how to take care of themselves beyond restarting their phone, they'll all fucking die. Let's be honest. That's the brutality of humanity. That is the human condition. You either die or you try and survive to continue on your genetic makeup to the next generation. That is survival of the fittest. I thank you for listening to my audio log, and I do wish you fellows a good day. And I'll be doing another audio log probably in a couple of days. I just wanted to get this off my chest. A lot of things been happening lately, and once again, I thank you. I thank you for watching, my friends, and I wish you a good day. Farewell, and good luck, my friends. Remember, tomorrow belongs to us, and to every single European and European descendant. Tomorrow belongs to us.